Dude, no, I'm not gonna sit here and act like I know what's wrong with her. I'd be trying to connect dots from like 10 minutes ago, then I'd hear...
I'm okay. This world is so ugly. The two of us will always shine like stars in the night sky. Everyone's slowly going a little crazy. But they still think it's better than reality, at least for now. It's half truth and half bravado.
Ain't that right? You know, I had a whole thing lined up for this first part of the video, but I decided to trash it because it boiled down to, I like this, but don't even really know what it wants to be. Okay, so like I know that this anime is based on the game Needy Streamer Overload. It's basically a game where the player's goal as P-chan is to help this mentally unstable girl Ame pick up streaming and get from 0 to 1 million followers in 30 days. 1 million in 30 days, I talk about mentally unstable. And to do that, she dons the persona of K-Angel. And whether she actually ends up hitting that million or not is up to what the player does and how they influence her emotions. I got that part. It's just that the anime's approach is pretty different. So in the anime, K-Angel is already the top streamer with 10 million followers. And there's this other group of streamers that are trying to pass her. It's a very straightforward setup, and I don't hate it, but if I'm being honest, okay, what this anime does well, it does like really well, but what it doesn't quite get right messes up the whole thing. I've heard people describe this as Oshinoko, but for streaming, and to a pretty large extent actually, I guess that is true. But I like to stay a little bit delusional and tell myself otherwise. Because, okay, I'm not gonna sit here and tell you that this anime for sure wasn't trying to be like Oshinoko, but for streaming, that's also like 100 times darker for no reason, since I have no clue. But what I will say is that showing how the internet acts when it comes to streamers, again, Oshinoko style, isn't this anime's strong suit. It really thrives when showing how the internet affects the individual. Okay, real quick, my overall opinion about this anime is that its concept is fine. It's trying to show a more realistic side of streaming, and like I said, the concept is fine. But in practice, I think the anime pushes the envelope way too far, I do. Like, it tries to establish this more serious and down-to-earth vibe, especially in the first episode, and alright, cool, I got you, I can work with that. I'm ready for the more serious plot points and themes now. But then almost every episode after that crumbles that realism and freaking farts on it. Because the conflict for any one episode is basically always being pushed to some unreasonable extreme. So much so that it starts feeling almost cartoonishly dark. I would even go so far as saying the story isn't that good, I don't think. But a bad story doesn't mean everything sucks. There's something else I really like here.
These days, what would you say is most important?
Dreams, of course. Everyone wants to keep dreaming long, happy dreams. They're scared of going back to reality, so they'd rather be in a world that feels comfy to them.
And do you find it stressful being the one who provides those dreams?
Stress is natural. What you see is what you get. Maybe some kid goes and copies me, but so what? It's not like I told them to do it. When people blame everything on others, that's when things start to spiral and get out of control. Besides, being good all the time isn't realistic. How about instead of getting angry about things, we start trying to figure out why those kids are hurting? Give them someone to talk to.
I like this character. Because, but not because I'm a sociopath or anything. Just clear that up. Because during that interview segment I just played, did you notice that what's coming out of her mouth is so weird as the #1 streamer? Like she said, maybe some kid goes and copies me, but so what? It's not like I told them to do it. And obviously as the #1 anything, that's not ever something you want to say because people are going to copy you. That's just not a normal way to think. But the way she thinks is actually the reason why she's the #1 streamer. Or maybe her being the #1 streamer contributed to the way that she thinks, but honestly, I just couldn't tell you. I was just so impressed that even with the amount of screen time that she got, which wasn't that much all things considered, I could still tell that this girl is seriously broke. And that's kind of a shame actually. Because whoever was in charge of transferring the core ideals and traits of a character from a game with almost 30 different endings into one character in an anime genuinely nailed it. It's just sad that nothing surrounding this character was as interesting as the character herself, but the anime still decided to focus on those less interesting things. So if I were to rewrite this, I'd want it to be more about Ame herself. She was just she was a girl who wasn't always right in the head, sure, but wasn't always like this either. So let's rewind all the way back. I'd want her to start with only that one follower. We're sticking pretty close to the game here, and I think for this specific anime, that's the call. I love her backstory though, we can keep that, but everything else, let's cut it. We can get rid of Karmazov, we can get rid of the random half killer that showed up in episode 2 for some reason. Let's just focus on Ame and her boyfriend Pichon. I said her boyfriend Pichon. Things would start out slow. She'd already be a bit messed up in the head and say something like, "Hey, 1,030 days." And from there, Pichon would help her achieve this virtually unachievable goal, but we should never actually see his character. He should be the type of person that does like Ame, but would sometimes tell her to do certain things just to see where the pieces land because it might be interesting. It's not like he really cares. She does her first live stream and takes everything he says at face value. She'll stream again and again, and now she's gaining followers, a lot. But with new followers comes new scrutiny. Some people start noticing cracks. She's streaming super often. Something about her is just a little bit off. Angel, are you okay? Then again and again and again.
I've forgotten what it feels like to fall asleep naturally.
Again and 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 again.
I'm not doing anything but living exactly how I want as the internet, Angel. You're getting all of this right?
I think I'm going to lose my mind soon. I can feel it.
Regardless if I die or break or even become a god, we'll be together.